Welcome to Senior Basketball Analyst. This is going to be a quick one. Golden State, 50 points, 50-point blowout of the Memphis Grizzlies on their home floor. This, to me, if you just glance at the box score, this tells the whole story. This tells you everything you need to know. The Grizzlies shot 27% from the field. 27. I actually don't recall seeing a field goal percentage that low for a game ever. Now, I'm sure I have, but I don't remember seeing it. That was it was brutal to watch. It was brutal. And in some ways, the Grizzlies are kind of getting what they deserve. And this is what I mean as an organization. They've done some things right, but they've done a lot of really silly things. One, they still have John Hollinger sitting there, the PER guy from ESPN. Why are you hiring an ESPN guy to run your team anyway? No clue. No explanation for that. Why is this guy continuing to sit there and run the team when he clearly doesn't know what he's doing? His answer to their problems really has just been to give Marc Gasol a max deal. That's it. That's it. He doesn't have any other answers for this team. There was a devastating graphic that and I should have taken a picture of it at the time and posted it. It was a devastating graphic that Doug Collins put up during the playoffs when the Grizzlies were playing Golden State Warriors. And it showed that in the entire Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph era, so since these two guys have been starting in the post for the Memphis Grizzlies, the Grizzlies have been among the lowest. They've been among the league's lowest field goal percentage from the arc. So they've been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league every year since they've had these guys. So what that means is, as an organization, they have sat here with this, ground and pound style. We're going to throw the ball to the post, and we're going to beat teams down in the interior. This entire time, they have not surrounded any of that with shooting. The entire time, they've just sat there. And in fact, it's even worse than that because some of the shooters they have had, Quincy Pondexter just comes to mind immediately because I saw him sitting on the bench injured for the Pelicans. They've had shooters and they've let those guys leave or traded them. And they have never made an effort to put a series of shooters around these guys. The only consistent shooter that they've ever had around these two guys has been their starting point guard, Mike Conley. That's it. Tonight, Courtney Lee, 0 of 5 from the arc. Matt Barnes, 1 of 6 from the arc. Vince Carter, 1 of 3 from the arc. Beno Udrih can't shoot. Beno Udrih was 0 of 5. By the way, I hate when he comes in the game and the announcers act like he can play. He's 0 of 5. Get out of here. He's 0 of 5, can't guard his man. Beno Udrih isn't any good. Never has been. He wasn't good with the Spurs. I don't know what he's still doing in the league, frankly. But this was I don't want to be too hard on anybody. I shouldn't have been so hard on Beno because, frankly, there's nothing really you can glean from this other than you guys just got stomped on. And Dave Yeager doesn't really know what he's doing. Because Dave Yeager, remember, is the guy that took over for Lionel Hollins after Lionel Hollins had increased the win percentage every year and was fired really for no reason. Ever since Dave Yeager took over, the first thing he did was he said, we're going to be up-tempo. We're going to try to run. You don't have any team speed. What are you talking about, dude? And they lost a bunch of games, and then he eventually just took the old Lionel Hollins stuff and reinstalled that. And ever since, he's just been kind of sitting there on autopilot. Yeah, doesn't know what he's doing. But no matter, he just keeps sitting there. So John Hollinger keeps sitting there. Dave Yeager keeps sitting there. And I mean, this team is just never going to win a championship. And it's unfortunate because they had an opportunity under Lionel Hollins. If they had just put, the last straw with Lionel Hollins seemed to be when they traded his backup center away and they traded some other pieces away, Pondexter being one of them. And he got upset and verbally said so in the media. And that probably was the death knell for him, publicly criticizing his boss. But at the same time, he was absolutely correct. And here the Grizzlies are. Here they are, and a team that should be an elite team goes out against the Golden State Warriors, and gets just deep hands. And it was a masterful performance by Golden State. Steph Curry hit a series of magical shots that look like, I don't even really want to say look like video game shots, because they don't really look like that either. Just he's doing some unique stuff out there with his ability to shoot while falling out of bounds, his ability to, weave himself through traffic. He had one sequence where he made 2 consecutive steals. First, it's the acrobatic reverse finish with the left, then it's the acrobatic reverse finish with the right, either hand. And that's why Leandro Barbosa was doing this dance. He's like, man, it's either hand. It's either hand, man. Steph Curry is just an amazing player. And that's really all that happened. It was just, other than that, it was just a team unified beatdown of a lesser team, lesser organization. Lesser team, lesser organization. And, I was looking for a really competitive game. We got that in the Houston, Oklahoma City Thunder game. We got that. In this game, not so much. But that's okay. So check out the highlights, man. The highlights were worth it. Festus Ezeli had a dunk. He had a tip dunk that I thought it might break the backboard. He dunked it so hard. It was incredible. So there's plenty of things to see if you want to check out the highlights. Obviously you can go to places like NBA.com. I would go to seniorbasketballanalyst.com. Go there, check out the highlights. Follow on Twitter. It's the hashtag SBA4. Follow us on Instagram at SBA4String. You know what to do, and you know that.